Hey everyone, this is Reba from Team Reba, and kind of doing another informal open house with Team Reba segment because I've had something on my mind a lot lately that I just feel like I need to get out in the universe, so to speak, and most definitely out in front of other people to hear things about. Just stuff that's going on inside of this local real estate market here in the Seattle area, and frankly, any market area where there's a lot of stuff going on and there's a shortage of inventory. Because many markets around the United States have these shortages of inventory. Of course, I'm sitting outside, so of course an airplane has to go by as soon as I'm doing that. But what I want to bring up is that there's a lot of people that are at risk of being taken advantage of right now. And I'm getting pretty peeved at people within my own industry and some people in the general public who, while I don't have anything against others trying to make a profit in a business venture, but I'm really not a fan of people doing that at the expense of someone else and taking actual advantage of them. So I'm going to give you a couple of concepts of things that I have been around lately and things that I've listened to. Hey Mike, hey Dragon, hi, hey Antoine. Thanks for watching. And here's what I'm getting peeved about. So I'm involved in a ton of different networking organizations, and one of them happens to be one that's for women involved in real estate. And I'm sitting at a meeting, no joke, where people are talking about how to talk with older people to get the best price when they're trying to buy their house off market. Because since we have such a shortage of inventory, which is why all of us know that the Seattle marketplace and surrounding areas have prices that are going through the roof right now, there are people actively helping promote how to find older people and convincing them to sell them their homes at well below market rate amounts, which are the people who least should be accepting offers of that type. Because in most cases, they are people on fixed incomes. There are people who are no longer in an income earning capacity of any kind. And it frankly just torques me off. And I'm going to give you some examples. In one other group, hey Eric, one group networking thing, it's actually not even a networking thing, it sort of is. It's this real estate investors group, which I'd never want to go back to again in my life because I feel like there's a lot of ethical challenges there. But one of the women who happens to be a real estate agent is a co-partner of this thing. And she was actively saying, hey, go get relationships with the local title companies and tell them you're looking for people 55 or older. And you're looking for certain kind of, like what kind of houses you're looking for, what kind of price points, and then, find and identify those people and then start reaching out to them regularly. And then what you want to end up doing is when you start talking to these folks, like if they finally respond to you, then what you want to do is ask them, what do they want to net out of their house? Well, I could tell you right now that most older folks, especially if they weren't tech savvy to begin with, or they don't know about things like Zillow, they just have the numbers in their heads are very different. And they're counting on this. These investor types are counting on this. Hey, Jay. And what they're looking for is for someone to say, oh, well, as long as I can get, $250,000 out of it, great. And if the value of that property is significantly more, well, of course, that investor is never going to tell them that. And many times, some of these folks have nobody to go to check that value. They don't have the infrastructure. Many times, they're at times in their lives, maybe they're widowed or divorced, living alone. Many of their friends have passed on, and they don't know who to go to. And I have seen this happen over and over. So I'm listening to this woman say, go get these lists and target these people. So that's one major irritation for me. And then I want to give you an example. We actually have a gentleman that we're helping right now who's currently under contract. We helped him with getting his home ready for sale. And he has owned this home since 1971 in the Fremont area. And with that, I met with him. He happened to listen to my radio show. So he reached out to me and said, hey, I want to talk to you about selling my house. And so that was last fall. So I've been working with him for over 6 months. And I go to meet with him. I see his house. It's on, like that on the edge of hoarding kind of situation. But he's a very lonely man and has some issues. I mean, but he's a lovely person. And we started talking about the value of his home because a lot of people have approached him because he's owned this home for so long. He's been approached over and over and over again by people, which is not a surprise. And so when he starts talking to me, like he got to know me for 2 years listening to me on the air, and I guess decided he could trust me because of how I talk on air and talk on here. So he ends up, hey, Brian, how's it going? So I'm talking to him and saying, well, here's kind of the price point. Like, if you're willing to do these things, here's what I believe we can get for this house for you. And he ends up working his little tushy off, God love him, and he gets some friends to help him out, and he has to buy some lunches and dinners and things like that to get the help because, again, he doesn't have a lot of friends, and so he's got to kind of, motivate people to help him a little bit. But this is a guy on a fixed income. He needs the money out of this house to live on for the rest of his life. And, and he has some debt. The debt that he has on the house was what he got during the last run-up when it was the easy money and you didn't have to prove an income. And it was just, stated income loans or liar loans, as so many people called it at the time. And so he could get that then. He can't do that now. He can't borrow against his home unless he gets a reverse mortgage. And some of those reverse mortgages are crap. And so anyway, he's trying to figure this out, and his parents have passed on. They were in their 90s, and they've passed on, so now he's inherited their place. So he's ready to move on down to Olympia. So where I'm going with all of this is he had friends, people who had been helping him with his house prior to him talking to me, and one guy was someone who had helped him with drywall. Now, we had told him, let's put your house on at $650, and we think we'll probably get you somewhere between $750 and $800 for it, given what the market's doing today. And this was with a house with a kitchen tore up and a bunch of weird stuff going on, right? Cute, 2-bed, 1-bath, not the perfect home, but cute and in a very, very popular neighborhood close to downtown. So of course someone's going to try and buy it. And we are working with him. He's working hard. He's getting stuff done. We're preparing. We're getting everything done. And his neighbor, lo and behold, who happens to be a real estate agent, is also trying to maneuver in and see if they can buy it because they bought their place. They got licensed 3 years ago, bought their place, and I think had hopes to buy his place because the only way their place is worth developing is if they have his house. So I got to tell you right now, I'm really stinking happy that we sold this to a couple who's going to renovate that house, and they're never going to want to sell it to those people because they really irritate the crap out of me right now because they were trying to take advantage of this gentleman. Because here's something you guys need to know. If a real estate agent is trying to buy for themselves, if they're trying to buy for themselves, here in the state of Washington, and I hope it's like this all over the rest of the United States, but in the state of Washington, if a real estate agent is trying to buy for themselves, they're obligated to tell the owner of that property what it's actually worth. Not just what they want to offer for it. They're required to tell them what it's worth. So if you ever have a real estate agent come to you and say, I want to buy this, you better damn well make sure that they have some comp analysis in front of you so that you can see that they're being honest about what they're offering. Now, you can choose to sell it for less than that. You could totally do that. And feel free, because sometimes there's situations where it's like, well, if it was in this condition, it'd be worth this. And if it's not,